What's up, guys? Max here, back with a brand new episode of the ScuttleButt Show, and I'm excited to be joined today by our very special guests, the founders of the Veterans Whiskey Club. What's up, guys? How are you doing?
Doing well, Max. Thanks for having us.
So we've got, from the way you guys are seeing it, top left, we've got Jason Spencer, we've got Milo Kasiak, and Tom McClendon, bottom left and bottom right, respectively. Hope I said your name right, Milo.
It's close enough.
All right. So, so you guys are, so I know Jason and Milo and Tom, I just met today, and you guys are Navy veterans, you are whiskey lovers, and you recently, I mean, even though it seems impossible, you've only recently just started this new group. Can you tell us a little bit about, for people tuning in, we'll get to know you guys in a second, but just really quick, if somebody wants to volunteer to tell us a little bit about what Veterans Whiskey Club is so everyone watching can kind of understand.
Yeah, Max, I'll field it.
Yeah.
So started Veterans Whiskey Club basically out of a necessity on my part, really, because I was tired of Facebook inundating me with political post after political post. Decided I was tired with that, was looking for a whiskey group, realized that there really wasn't one for military in general, so I created it. And it would, the entire premise behind it is a place where we can have that, you know, military banter that we have, like while we're on deployments or we're TAD and that sort of thing. Also, while enjoying whiskey together, and then also just share different likes and dislikes about it.
Yeah. So for everyone watching, the link to the Veterans Whiskey Club website is linked in the description down below, and you can find them on social media at Veterans Whiskey Club and /Warriors and Whiskey. And that's kind of like one group split into two different titles there. So on Facebook, it's Veterans Whiskey Club, and the website's linked down below. And on the website, you can find out all the kinds of information. So, and then also, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, and I'll forward them on to the guests here. So what about, Jason, starting with you, can you just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and what your background is?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a 24-plus year still active duty senior chief at this point. Currently with a Jacksonville squadron, the MQ4 Squadron VUP-19, as their senior enlisted leader. But my background has basically been VQ, reconnaissance, and then special projects, which both Tom and Milo were as well. And then you and I spent quite a bit of time in Naval Special Warfare doing the Scan Eagle gig. So I've been kind of all around the Navy other than ships, really.
Yep, you and I have drank quite a bit of whiskey together.
Yes, we have.
Milo, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, same thing. Seems like all of us have been running the same circles. I'm a Naval flight officer, over 20 years right now, still active. Currently the exit at DC May AMO down in St. Augustine. Background is I was a EP3 guy, rode a Sping. Did a few test tours, test squadrons, was special projects, and SOCOM, as I said, where we probably started circling up with the UAS programs. And here I am.
Tom?
Yeah, I'm the only retiree of the group. I'm the old man, retired Navy. I had
by the gray hair going on in that beard.
I know, right? Well, now I get to grow my facial hair out.
Thank you very much. Look into Just for Men.
No, so yeah, I retired back in 2019, at the end of 2019. But yeah, my background similar to Milo's. I'm a P3 driver. Started with a couple of squadrons out in Hawaii and moved around a good bit. Pre-commissioned the George H.W. Bush CVN 77. I've been to sea a few times. Unlike these yahoos, I actually have been to sea because I was in the Navy. But yeah,
oh, here we go. Answer already.
No, yeah, three P3 squadrons, and a couple of ship tours.
Love it.
That's about it.
Love it. Yeah, I've got some I've got some ship time. Got a few years of sea time myself. I always thought if you were in the Navy, you should do some ship time. And just because, hey, you were in the Navy, you got to do it. I mean, it's a bucket list thing.
I did my sea time on a Zodiac.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. You know, I forgot to mention that I'm prime listed as well. I came in like way before these guys. I worked on A6s back when they were around.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then got out and went back to college. Got a commission at that point, and then came back in and flew P3s. So I've
good
seen
to go.
both sides of the coin.
Good to go. That's awesome. That's great to know. So the story behind the Veterans Whiskey Club, the creation, is a little interesting, right? Because it transformed really quick from one thing into another thing. Can you guys kind of tell us a little bit about that? So what did it begin as, and what is it now?
You want me to chat about that? You go.
Take it.
So basically, like I said, it was Jason's drunken idea one time to join a veterans whiskey club, some place for people to hang out and meet up. From that point, where I think I reached out to him, was probably one of his first members up there. Was it's like, hey, I think this thing could be a lot bigger than just a random Facebook club. Like we could change the world right here, right? So we can not only turn this into a club that's spread worldwide, we can turn it into a business, and then also we can have a platform where we can do a lot of good and give back to a lot of veterans charities. That point says, all right, you're it. You're an admin as well. Help me out. And from that point on, we grabbed Tom on that aspect. We needed some adult supervision, and yes, it's right. We are barely playing catch up. We're growing faster than we can keep up with right now. We appreciate all the support, and we are trying to get everything out.
Yeah, there is two sides of this. You know, the Veterans Whiskey Club is veteran exclusive, right? So I mean, anybody that's a veteran, has served in any branch of service that drinks whiskey and wants to be a part of the club absolutely can be.
Including NOAA, but we've got one NOAA member.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and of course the other side is the Warriors and Whiskey, and that's the business side of what we do. And anybody and everybody can be a part of that. You know, if you love America, love whiskey and bacon and all the good things about America, then they're welcome to be a part of that.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Is there a so the group has like 3,500 members already, and that is like skyrocketed because, like I said, like you guys haven't been doing this that long. And what is like the catalyst for that? Do you guys even know? Is it just like the idea that this didn't exist before and now it exists, and so people are flocking to it? Are people inviting other people to the group? Are you promoting it? Are you advertising? Like, how did this growth occur?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything that you said, honestly. I mean, I was extremely surprised that there was not a group already out there dedicated to veterans and whiskey. I mean, we drink enough of it. You would think that there would be a group out there that had already been started. So it surprised us that there wasn't. So that's probably the same with all the rest of the veterans that are joining the group is, you know, why haven't anybody done this before? But yeah, it's growing exponentially because people are getting on there. They're loving it. You know, we've banned politics, and nobody can talk about politics or religion. And that's just sort of a reprieve to get away from the everyday life where everybody's talking about it, you know? So I think that's why it's so popular.
Yeah. To piggyback on what Tom's saying, I think in this COVID-19 environment that we're in, people are looking for an outlet and something that's good and positive. And I think we're filling that void, and people are jumping on board. I started in the initial phases getting messages back like, hey brother, like, this is awesome. Thank you for starting this. It's a positive place where we can come and we can banter with each other, have that camaraderie, and still gather in a way, right? Because we can't physically gather for the most part, but we can gather in this arena.
Yeah.
I mean, bringing it down to, I mean, military guys are drinkers, right? In general, we also want a place that we can come together at. And I mean, we've got people that are in the 21-year-old spectrum. So like, I don't know what the age groups is, but some people look like they're in their 70s, you know? So it brings it gives a chance for people to feel like they're in the military again, whether they're retired, going there, or currently in there. It is way different than any other whiskey club group that because we're part of all the whiskey groups when we look on there. And yeah, everybody shows their whiskey, everyone on there, but there is a bond between all of us, men and women that have been serving, that makes this club different. And from all the feedback we've been getting, I don't know how many times you keep saying thank you for starting this club, thank you. It's like we're just glad that we even can be a part of it, you know. So it's not our club, it's everybody's club that's in there. So
yeah, it's really cool to see some of the posts, you know, where guys will reconnect after years on these posts, and they're sharing stories about whiskey, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey man, where'd you come from? I haven't seen you in 10 or 12 years, and it's really cool to see.
So my Justin, my buddy Justin in the chat said, man, I haven't heard piggyback since my last Navy meeting. But we've got three. We've got just old good friend of mine. So we have we haven't had three senior Navy individuals on the show together ever. So get ready because we're gonna piggyback off each other nonstop. So it's really cool. So there to make a group. Anytime someone makes a group for veterans, it's a good idea to start with. And the reason I think that is, from what I've seen having this show, there's many different types of people who would come to a community like this, like what I've made on the ScuttleButt Show, like what you've made with Veterans Whiskey Club. Somebody, Angie in the chat, said this group is really special for talking about you guys. So thank you for making this group. And, you know, it's everything from people who are thinking about joining the Navy, or the military, I should say, people who are in the military, people who have served and now, you know, that time of their lives behind them, and then people whose family and friends are in the service. That seems to be who comes to these groups. And I'm sure you guys have a diverse amount of that in the group. It's really speaks to the idea that you can't duplicate the military community in anywhere else in life. And as people get out of the military and get further away from the military, you start to go, I need some of that shit back in my life. So where can I go? And Veterans Whiskey Club, I mean, I can't think of a better name for a club that would draw people in to come hang out and chat with each other and shoot the breeze, trade sea stories, and, you know, meet up with old battle buddies and to do all the common military terms there. Have you guys had people come in there and like start engaging with the group, trying to like be leaders within the group, start hosting different like talking points and stuff like that?
We have. So in an aspect of, so people are looking to do a barrel buy. So
yes.
So we've got Sean Brennan is actually leading that right now, and is within the next few weeks he's going to be researching which companies would be the best fit for us to buy barrels and actually distribute them through the club. Because I can guarantee with 3,500 people, we're going to get at least, I don't know, maybe 500 of them that want to buy a bottle that says Veterans Whiskey Club, especially hand selected from Veterans Whiskey Club.
Yeah. Can you explain to everybody what a barrel buy is real quick if they don't know?
Yeah, so basically you go out to a distillery of your selection and you get them to send, in this aspect, you would get them to send you samples. Normally you would go to the distillery and actually taste from different barrels. And the best one that you thought tasted good, basically you'd say, I want to buy that barrel. And then you usually yield anywhere around 150-ish bottles from a barrel. And they would then, so let's just say we use Jack Daniels for this scenario.
Sure.
So then Jack Daniels would then, put your name or on a plate, and it would say Veterans Whiskey Club and a barrel pick of. You can actually go to liquor stores, and liquor stores have started doing this huge, and so have bars actually, to where they're like, hey, this is our special barrel pick. And they'll have the liquor store's name or the bar's name that's actually written on the label.
I think so. Somebody in the chat said Jefferson's and Woodford are both good for barrel buys. I know Jack Daniels is too, because I've been to the Jack Daniels distillery, which if anybody gets a chance to go to the Jack Daniels distillery, it's awesome. And there's a great story behind that distillery, and they do barrel buys also. Rusty says 150 bottles in the making of is the making of a Great Liberty incident.
Yes, it is.
That's true.
Do you, so gosh, so many places we can go with this. Do you guys have have a favorite whiskey? What's your go-to?
Oh my gosh, that is so hard to say. I mean, there's so many of them. I don't know that I have a single one that I would pick over the other. I do have probably 4 or 5 that are in the house all the time. You know, if I run out, I'm going to go back and buy it. I'm drinking it right now. As a matter of fact, I've got a bottle of Willet. That's what I'm having, and this is just one of them that I enjoy. Some people don't, but you know, we like to say at the Veterans Whiskey Club. I don't know where to put this now. We like to say at the Veterans Whiskey Club that you like what you like, and drink it the way that you like to drink it too. And we've had a lot of discussions about ice or water or whatnot. And it's like, doesn't matter, man. Drink it the way you like it.
Yeah, Jason needs to calm it down a little bit. He can't handle the burns too bad.
Listen, I like to open up the flavors, is what it is. And like right now, I'm loving this, the Weller.
Yeah, that's a good one, man, for sure.
Antique.
Love it.
So
Probably my favorite.
you got go over the spectrum again. It's just like the rocket ship that Jason was talking about earlier. I'm all over the fucking spectrum. So I love the ashtray. If the smokier, the better. Though one of my favorites, without a doubt, and I know everybody loves the Lagavulin 16, but
Lagavulin 16.
My favorite smoky Scotch. It's right up there. As far as bourbons go, Woodford Reserve, you know, it's been getting cheaper, and sometimes people overlook it now. But Woodford Reserve is probably my favorite bourbon, and I love the rye too. The rye's good. But like Tom says, I've got watching this group and noticing how much lighter my wallet is right now, because I keep saying, oh, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. I hope we can write this shit off on our taxes now. But yeah, my collection's growing, and now I have way too much to choose. Tom and Jason going to be over here in a couple of weeks, and I have a feeling that probably I'll have to restock again. But
we'll bring you a bottle, man.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, to Milo's point, this club has definitely opened my palate to a lot of different stuff, and it's hit my wallet.
Okay, so
buy some t-shirts. It's the only way we're gonna do it.
So that's a great point, because I wanted to figure out how to segue into this. By the way, my favorite whiskey, I have a favorite. I know exactly what my favorite whiskey is. It's actually Jack Daniels Sinatra Blend. So Jack Daniels came out with a bottle called the Sinatra Blend, a flavor. It comes in this big black box, very fancy. Far and away, my number one pick for my favorite whiskey of all time. It's a little pricey. It's like $140, $150 a bottle. Well worth it. In its price category, nothing beats it. That's my opinion. But I would, if you guys have had the Sinatra Blend, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and everybody in the comments too, let me know. Somebody said Bullet is a good one. I want to shout out to Nikki MGTV in the chat. And Rusty says, I don't care what's in your glass as long as you raise it when I say sky. A month already. Okay, so... Huh? Skull? Skull. What is that?
It's
cheers.
Norse.
Okay. So my question was, I've seen on your group ever since it started, people post, I got this at the Costco, I got this at the exchange, good pull today, it's like 8 bottles. Is your group encouraging people to go out and buy more whiskey? Not directly, but indirectly.
Let me say no. We're not. So the whole group is about enjoying the whiskeys together and sharing your experiences. I mean, we're not encouraging folks to go out and buy 20 bottles. I mean, because whiskey does get expensive. You know what I mean? And I can't afford to go out and buy 20 bottles when I go to the store. But yeah, no,
we like to hang out in places of people that do. So if you have, invite us, please.
Yeah, it's really fun though to see those guys bring in the halls, and and then talk about their experiences with it. I mean, that's what's so fun is, they'll break one open and sometimes they're like, yeah, this wasn't worth the money, or man, I would buy this one again. And that's fun to talk about. But yeah, I don't think that we encourage them to go out and buy 20 bottles at a time.
I got to put a plug in here and say, drink responsibly.
There you go. There you go.
We're not.
I'm not putting that plug in, but these two can.
Well, look, I can think of many a night where, what does drink responsibly really mean? Like I like to have a plan. I like to have a plan
exactly.
slogan. I think that's better because if you drink responsibly, you can only have a couple. So I like to drink a little irresponsibly and have, 6, 7, 8, a dozen drinks on a good Saturday night. But as long as you have a plan, you're not out there drinking and driving, drinking and getting into major fights, ruining your life. Because Carlos in the chat just said whiskey got me on restriction.
That's not drinking responsibly.
There's like there's a
point, Max. It's more have a plan. I like it. Exactly. And we always tell that in the Navy, right? It's always on your Friday when you're senior and you're sending your sailors out. It's not, hey, have fun, but have a plan. I like that you said that.
Don't be the last person to pick up a drink because you're the designated driver.
Yeah. I always, Jason, you might remember, I always bought into I'm big Navy, I love the Navy. I'm big Joe Navy. I love all that stuff. I always love to have a plan. It's so easy. You just do that and you have no problems. Whiskey is such a huge part of the Navy. And the military in general. People in the military love whiskey, and you guys hit the nail on the head with that. I can remember, I'd love to hear a sea story about whiskey. I remember, for example, and my boy Justin in the chat will remember this, being in Fujairah. Fujairah is this little shithole port right on the edge of the Gulf, and we would go in there and grab supplies, and all we could do is go down to the port. There was a little duty-free store there that actually had a little bar and a karaoke bar in it, and we would go buy this bottle of Johnny Walker. It was several gallons of Johnny Walker, and it would be on a swing. It had a stand, and it would be on a swing, and it would pivot on this swing so you could pour it. Because you could never just pick it up and pour it. You would make a huge mess. So we would just go sit on the pier and drink this giant bottle of Johnny Walker and just, shoot the shit and have a good time. And so many great, amazing Navy moments in my life, I'm sure in your guys' life, revolve around or starts with some good whiskey. Do you guys have any good sea stories?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the reasons I started the group and you were present at these was our hotel that we frequented in Paso Robles, California, when we were up at Camp Roberts. And we basically turned the lobby into a party is what we did pretty much every night. And it was the camaraderie that we had there because we'd bring in a bottle, we'd test it out, and there'd be 10 of us hanging out in the lobby. We'd be getting told to keep it down, this, that, and the other thing. They'd shut the doors to the rooms and that sort of thing. But it was those moments that I completely remember, and that's what I was trying to recreate with this on a larger level.
I've heard.
My story is extremely similar to that one. To be fair, out of Atsugi, Japan, it was the first snow I remember in December, and it just shut down the airfield, and so our whole flight schedule was canked, and so we just basically took a bottle of whiskey, and there was probably only about 4 or 5 of us had a bottle of whiskey, and we sat down in the lounge in the bottom of our BOQ there, and started having a drink and just chit chatting, and before you know it, several others joined. A few others brought down a bottle, and before you know it, all the officers were down in this room, and we're drinking and we're talking and having a good time. And I remember that very vividly because that's when a lot of the relationships began to grow. We talk about the camaraderie we have, and it's those types of stories where you build those camaraderie, and it was just a fantastic event.
Yeah.
All right, let's go realizing that 2 of us are active duty. Not put any names on here or situations that are only hypothetical. But so being the part of not actually being on a boat, we used to have to take the naval flights to fly to theater, whether we're going to Afghanistan, Iraq, or Djibouti. As you know, these are quite dry places, and you spend a very long time in these places, these shitholes, nice shitholes, that for a long time. So it's amazing how often the naval flights actually go through Shannon or Glasgow, and if you actually believe at any point in time that we have all these comm boxes filled with ComSec to actually stuff that there's not allowed to be scanned, that is only filled with that stuff, it's too late because they actually check that shit now. But this was like 10 years ago. It's flying into Shannon, is going to the whiskey store, filling up about 6 comm boxes full of it fits 3 750 milliliter bottles perfectly in each one of those comm boxes. That can pretty much get you almost through your deployment. So, and that made Bob Room a lot more tolerable.
Yep.
To that point, the P3 has a lot of places you can hide some.
That is interesting.
It's aircrew. You know, if you're on the plane, you have that's the hookup right there. You can get anything. Yeah. I remember being like in Iraq, for example. I'm in Iraq, and I was in like northern Iraq, like Erbil area, and I was working with some Army guys out there, and we would be driving back from a little trip out to the wherever the mission was, and we would stop on the side of the road and buy a bottle of Jack Daniels from a little like street cart, and then go back and drink it. Like I didn't know these guys. I go up there, we go out and we do some work, and then we're heading back, and hey, let's grab a bottle of JD and head back and have a drink. Like it just unifies the military, and it's like such a common ground thing, like jump off point to some team building and some camaraderie. And like I always said, you really know somebody after you've gotten drunk with them. Like it's you get a new teammate or something like that, and if somebody doesn't drink, it's all good. But you get a new teammate, somebody new to the crew, you go out and you get drunk, and that's like bonding right there. That's like a great bonding experience.
Because you do something so stupid that you have to trust that person you're with not to ever again. Tom has a lot of those. I'm surprised he didn't actually play any of it.
Yep. What's like so Veterans Whiskey Club? By the way, I have the website here. Let me do this really quick. Let me jump over. So right now, the listeners can see your website. I have it on the screen, and I'm just looking at the homepage here. It's, Veterans Whiskey Club, and you have the Warriors and Whiskey, and it says, we believe everyone deserves a fun and engaging way to pursue their passion, and when that passion is whiskey, we couldn't think of a better way than to distill the greatest whiskey enthusiasts in America into one spirited community. And then, there's ways to buy merch on here, to, how giving back, the giving back mission. What is the main thing about, if people go to the website, what are the main things you want them to check out?
So the website has been launched, but we promise you it's still a work in progress. Eventually, the idea of the website is it's going to be a one-stop shop for everything whiskey. You want to learn about whiskey, you want to understand about whiskey, you want to be able to meet up with other people. Anything about whiskey, this is what it's designed to do. That is the progress there. The other thing that we want to push out is the fact that, hey, anytime you look into this, and whatever you support on this group is also directly going to a veterans charity. So first veterans charities is K9 for Warriors. We are going to sponsor a different charity every quarter. All sales going there, all meetups, everything like that. Percentage of proceeds are all going to that charity. Third thing also is we have a shop. We didn't actually think about opening a shop when we first started doing this stuff, the club. At the moment we had that, I think it might have been one of these signs. Next thing you know, we had people screaming. I was like, "Where's your T-shirts? Where's your coins? Where's your swag? Where's this?" Like, oh. And that's when we started going to like overload. And just like, oh crap, we got to figure out how to do this stuff. So the shop is our first iteration. We got coins coming up soon. We will have signs coming up there. We're going to be coming up with glassware, like I said, a subscription service. And eventually, we're going to come out with our own whiskey, but that's down the line. But again, it's those are the three main things. So for Jason and Tom, see if I'm sure I missed something, but
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, as part of giving back, we want to, we're not only raising money for charities through the website, but there's going to be other ways that we're going to do that with local meetups and fundraisers and stuff like that, where we actually partner with distilleries and they're going to help us to, I guess, host a charity fund drive and have all the local veteran whiskey group guys meet us, and it's just going to be a good time. So we're really committed to giving back. I mean, most veterans I've ever met love other veterans, and we just couldn't think of a better way than to drink whiskey, talk to veterans, and give back to the community.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So I was going to ask you guys, what do you love about whiskey? But I feel like that question has been answered in so many different ways here. What is the deal with making your own whiskey? Can you talk, like, when you say that, that sounds like a pretty major endeavor. Like, how does that even work?
Yeah, it's a lofty goal, and it is a long-term goal for us. For sure, right? Like, we got to get to the point where
2 years.
Yeah, that's years down the line, but we would love to own our own distillery and be able to, distill our own spirit and get it out to the public. All the while, again, our main premise behind this whole thing was, how do we give back to veteran charities? So it's gonna be slow rolling, right? And I feel, and I'm sure the other two as well, I feel like we're in a sprint trying to catch the fastest runner in the world is where I feel we're at this point. Because it's like, we put the logos out and everybody is like, where's the swag at? Where's the swag at? So then
think about it yet.
Yeah, our focus at that point then shifted to, oh crap, we need a place to put our swag, right? So, hey, let's build a website. Now our focus is shifting back to, okay, let's grow the website and the viewers there and actually give good content, right? We want to have content. That's why we're trying to build. The three of us are actually trying to write articles, and you can imagine 3 Navy dudes trying to write articles, right? So that's where we're at, and that's why if you're already in Veterans Whiskey Club, that's why you see the post of, hey, submit your articles, because we are literally trying to build this site as, hey, come here, learn all about whiskey, have camaraderie, let's have fun doing it, and make it an all-encompassing site. So that's kind of where we're at, and eventually, when we build up and we start to pick up some steam, maybe 5 to 10 years down the line, that's when, hey, maybe the three of us are like, hey, let's start our own distillery at that point. But we would love to get there.
Yeah, and the content's not coming from all three of us all the time. I mean, we're not just relying on the three of us. We've already partnered with Whiskey Magazine. They're a partner of ours already. We've got some content from them on the website, and they're already dedicated to give us more. We've got new offers from Whiskey Magazine coming to the Veterans Whiskey Club exclusively here very shortly. And so, yeah, and that's not going to be the last one. We're looking at other magazines as well.
That kind of partnership is awesome. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Partnering with people like that. That's really cool. That's awesome.
Once again, another drunk.
That was a Jason drunk idea. We just emailed.
It was.
I was really good. Ideas when I'm drunk. Apparently, I have really good ideas when I'm drunk.
All the best ideas come when you're after a few drinks. I'll tell you, like, all my skit ideas are born out of a beverage. That's when the real humor comes out. So partnerships are a great thing. Did you guys, it's so crazy. Life is just so crazy. Did any of you guys ever think that your next great endeavor would come from a Facebook group?
No,
not at all.
Not at all, man. Like I honestly thought that starting this group would be, just an outlet where I didn't think I'd get 500 members, to be honest with you. And I thought we would have a great time between the 500 of us, right? And you would have been one of them, because again, I was trying to recreate that lobby in Paso Robles.
Yep.
is what I was really trying to recreate, right? But everybody wants that apparently on a global level. So here we are. You know, Milo and Tom are really the catalyst of having great ideas of some kind of business knowledge, right? And they're like, listen, dude, you just figured out how to launch this. Here's our ideas. And then since then, you know, we really complement each other very well. Milo is the rocket ship that you can't really hold on to. Tom is holding on to him somehow. I don't know how. And I'm like the middle of the road kind of guy. Like, hey, here's where we should meet in the middle. So
He's a referee.
The three of us really complement each other, and it's really great to see that. And the relationship between the three of us has grown beyond what I've ever even expected. And Tom and I haven't even physically met, and I feel like we have a very good connection.
I'll be down there.
You know, there's something we do on the ScuttleButt Show, and it's been done many times. And I always ask people, you know, call your shot, right? So I always say, call your shot. So the big goal of producing a whiskey, let's say, let's put a timeline on it. You guys should have your own whiskey, at least one batch, custom Veterans Whiskey Club whiskey by when? Somebody give me a date.
June 2022.
June 2020.
June 2022.
What are you trying to do to us, Tom?
June 2022.
3 months from now, we'll have our own whiskey.
June 2022. Veterans Whiskey Club whiskey.
And then there's a guy holding me back 26. Jason's going to say 24.
No, honestly, Max, he's right on with that. But that would be a private label. It wouldn't be us owning the distillery. It wouldn't be us owning the distillery. It would be us going out, finding a distillery to make us our own mash bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then putting our label on it.
Okay. That's it. June 2022. We got it. I'm going to put it on my list of shots called on the show here.
Oh, wait. We'll get busy now.
You gotta put a date on it. You gotta put a date on it.
2 years.
Yep.
Well, 1 year.
Yep.
We got 1 year, 3 months.
I love the some of the comments here are great. Rusty says bourbon goes in, wisdom comes out. Andrew says my buddy Leroy talks about his prime self, which is 10% away from blacking out. That is so true. That is so true. Like prime self. Like there's a point of like a few drinks where you hit like perfect amount of buzz where anything is possible. Like I always played my best pool game after like 3 or 4 drinks, and I was like unstoppable on a pool table. And then like a couple more, and then you're like, I can't do anything now. Now I can't do anything.
I feel like I'm there right now.
Perfect. I know. I wish I could have a drink with you guys.
Where you can't do anymore.
I can't wait till I'm doing this show back in the United States, so it'll be like evening time for me too, and not morning time when I can't really pull up a tall pour.
You need to come to Florida and visit us. I got a spare bedroom right here that's open for you.
Well, I've got a list of places next time I'm in the United States that I need to do a tour of and visit people from the show and do content with. And I would love to visit you guys and do some video content when you guys have the maybe some of the more physical stuff like the subscription plan, the monthly boxes, the whiskey, the barrel buys and all that. That's really exciting stuff. How are you like tracking interest? Like, have you put out polls in the group, or do you know what people want? Have you done like a survey? What do people want to see this group start producing? Stuff like that. Because obviously merch was a big hit. People love that. And it's really good. We looked at it, we had the website pulled up. We were looking all at the different merch. Have you guys got like kind of a finger on the pulse of what people want from you?
We do, but interesting, we haven't had to dig for it. I mean, veterans, they're very vocal. So we're getting comments all the time about, I'd like to see this or that. And that's really what feeds us. That's what keeps us going. We do have one post out there that I think it's in our announcements that's asking, hey, how are we doing? And we've had several people go visit that post and type in there, their comments, but we haven't had to dig very hard to get comments about, what they want to see.
Yeah, a quick shout out to the man behind the curtain, Jamie Quinones. He's the one that put that out for us. If you need your website built, go check out Eccentric Development Solutions.
Okay.
He's the one that put that post out and was asking just to see kind of, hey, where should this group go? What are we looking to do? And people have responded to it, and that's kind of what we're feeding off of.
He's definitely the crop that keeps these donkeys fucking going.
Yeah.
Whoever that swear on this, I apologize. Yeah, he's the one that every time we felt we did a good job, we sit in the meeting and I was like, yeah, that was nice, but you need to do this, and this, and this. I'm like, all right. Put our tail between your legs and keep moving on and keep putting more stuff on there. But he makes us look good. Otherwise, we look like what we do on your podcast right now.
Yeah, he definitely has. We think we're feeling good, and he'll hammer us in a couple pegs just to keep us grounded and keep moving to the right direction and where we're supposed to be. So, hey, shout out to Jamie Quinones. Thank you so much. I
might have to check out that website too. So my buddy Bill in the comments said, made note that St. Patrick's Day celebrations are probably going to be going on this weekend. He might have to go out for some Jameson cask. And he says, just like wine tasting, there's whiskey tasting. You have to get some whiskey knowledge. What is some like standard whiskey knowledge people should have? What's like a good baseline that if you enjoy whiskey, what should you know about it?
Well, the first thing you gotta know is the difference between KY and KEY.
Okay.
So Scotch whiskey. You also can have Canadian whiskey. That's a KY. There's only a few ones that use KY. Everybody else uses KEY. I don't know. Figuring out the English language. That's the first thing.
Okay.
The other thing is,
that's not a hard and fast rule, by the way. That's not written.
I know. There's a couple American ones that do and stuff like that. The other thing is what is your whiskey made of, right? So you got the malts. That's pretty much everywhere in the world besides America. Canada's rye, Scotland, Ireland, malt, Japanese is malt, India is malt. America's, you start going to the bourbons have to be like 51% corn, 49% rye, or more corn, less rye, but a lot more corn. That's the requirement for your, but America definitely doesn't use the malt. The malts aren't as popular in America for the American whiskeys as the corn and the rye is in the country. But other things to drink, honestly, you gotta take your own personal preference on your knowledge. If there's anybody that's a whiskey enough snob that says that what you like is crap, is bullshit, because everybody's individual taste is gonna like something from something, right?
Well, here's a question. Here's a common one that I don't know the answer, but I hear this. A little bit of water in your whiskey.
A few drops. A few drops. There's a lot of controversy about this. So with whiskey, whiskey's got oils in it. And the oils, if you put a few drops in it, it opens up these oils and it makes it a lot more aromatic. And if it's more aromatic, then, you smell it more, you can taste it more. All that's speculative though. You put too much water in it, it tends to water it down, but it doesn't matter. If that's the way you like it, then that's the way you drink it. You could put a little water or a lot of water or soda, whatever you like.
Ultimately what it comes down to is, what do you like to drink, right? It doesn't matter what other people really think. It's how do you like to drink it? Personally, I like my whiskey cold. I like that the ice opens up the flavors. Somebody else might not. They might like it neat. It is ultimately your palate and how you like to drink it.
Jason's like, listen, it's your choice. You drink it any way you want. That's why I like mine with Coca-Cola. And I only...
If you drink Sinatra with Coca-Cola, I might have to fly out there and teach you something.
All right. Well, whatever
I went on a date with a girl once. She said she loved whiskey. I brought a beautiful bottle of New England. This was a long time ago. I apologize. This is a long time ago. Anyway, next thing I know, she whips out a can of Coke. She mixes my Scotch with her Coke. That was not a good moment.
Scotch and Coke.
First and last date.
It was the last day.
So there's like this kind of stuff, like just from a knowledge perspective. I always get curious, you know, like there's like the way that there's like a whiskey tasting way to do it. You know, interestingly in Japan just like last month published the guide to what makes a whiskey Japanese. It has to be made in Japan, distilled in Japan for at least this amount of time, have these ingredients, be this percentage, this and that. And it was like a very official thing. They defined what is Japanese whiskey, because out here they have a big history with whiskey in Japan, including with mixing with Irish whiskey standards and the way that they make and their, you know, mixes and ingredients and all that stuff. And it's always very interesting to notice kind of like history. And I know when I went to the Jack Daniel's distillery in Tennessee, that tour was one of the most fascinating stories about whiskey I've ever heard. Another, what was the other thing? So there's, you know, the, like everything from the way to dilute it. Is it cold? Is it warm? The tasting notes, the glass that you drink out of. Like, do you guys recommend a glass of whiskey that you would drink out of?
Just a glass. Drink out of a glass, but ultimately, like, again, if you like to drink it out of a tin cup, drink it out of a tin cup. Like, I prefer a glass myself. That way you don't get any other taste other than the glass, other than the whiskey, right? Because it is a glass. And that's probably the most dominant thing to do. Or hey, take shots straight out of the bottle if you want.
There you go.
So you know, if it's a group like this and we're just sitting around BSing and just drinking, you know, the high malt glass for me works fantastic. But now if it's a whiskey centric discussion, if I'm going to be tasting whiskey, it's going to be a Glencairn glass, you know, because Glencairns are made specifically for tasting whiskey, and you get the aromas much better. You can smell them, taste it better. And so Glencairn glasses are definitely the way to go for tasting and appreciating, taking notes on whiskey or whatnot. But yeah, if you're just sitting around drinking, that's the way I do it.
Now I've got those pulled up on the screen right now. I've drank out of these many times. I didn't know that's what these were called. So the people listening can see it on the screen right now. Got it. Glencairn glasses. And that's spelled Glencairn. I spelled it Glencairn. And luckily Google corrected it for me. Thank you, Google. Yeah. Thank you, Google. So that's good information. I recently learned, here's another like factoid, that in Scottish, they say whiskey, the meaning of whiskey is the water of life. So if you're wondering what kind of importance it plays in that culture, they literally call it the water of life is what it means. It's whiskey.
So we kind of played around with with putting on a coin, like we do Semper Fidelis or that sort of thing, right? So what we played around with was Semper Cupum Aqua Vitae, which is basically always whiskey, water of life.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. I like if you include Semper in it, because you know how the Navy and Marine Corps goes with Semper.
So Tom had a very good idea, and this will not be our initial coin, but we are talking about doing a coin like a commanding officers type coin that you can only get from the three of us, and it would probably have that thing.
Got it. That's really cool. Damn, now I got to get me one of those. I'm trying to look into making coins for the show too. Coins, patches, like people love that kind of military themed, commemorable like merchandise. It's definitely high up on the list of things that I'm working on for the show. A coin would be really cool. Like a good coin is just like so awesome. And a Veterans Whiskey Club coin, there's like the one that everybody can get. And then maybe that, you know, if you sign up for the subscription, you can get one of those. And then there's the one that only can come from you guys as like the admins, the, you know, commanders or the master chiefs of the club, you know. Is there going to be are you guys going to try to what's the way to is the way that this club's ran, and I mean this like not in like a military order kind of way, but like in the spirit of it, is this going to be highly influenced by your like military background, like the way that you run the group with like as far as like terms and, you know, meetups and all that stuff? Is it going to be very influenced by, you know, military background, or is it going to be more understandable for everybody?
we might have some names that are like that, but honestly, like, and to Tom and Milo's credit, and I love these dudes. I'm telling you, like,
Oh, here it comes.
yep. Even though I'm
Wait, us or wait,
yeah, I love guys. Like, these two are officers.
Yeah,
I'm enlisted, but this entire endeavor is 33.33333% across the board, and nobody has any say over anybody else. And we literally have come to the point where we are balancing each other out at this point.
Nice. That's perfect.
Yeah, the military jargon, I think we're gonna try to keep to a minimum with the Warriors and whiskey. There will be some in there. I mean, we are warriors, and we've spent our whole adult life in the military, so we can't get away from it. But the Warriors and whiskey is for everyone, and so we can't use jargon that not everyone understands. And so we won't go heavy with it. But now with the Veterans Whiskey Club, for sure, yeah, it'll be heavy military centric.
Because they'll understand.
Oh, sorry. So to ask you about the meetups too, we're gonna have two different kinds of meetups, right? We're gonna have meetups that are open to everybody, right? That's some of the Warrior Whiskey banner. That's gonna allow the outside world to help bring things into us, especially bringing to helping veterans charities up stuff there. But if we're gonna have specific Veterans Whiskey Club only groups, and to that, jargon's probably gonna be full on board. People are not going to understand a word we're going to say, but it's only going to be open to veterans. So we're going to have it's a constant balance between both groups. So the elite group is always going to be Veterans Whiskey Club. The Warriors and Whiskey is the face to the rest of the world.
Got it.
We also need to put out, Max. Hey, I want to put a plug in. Though the three of us are Navy, you can relate to this. When we deployed, our arm was Army. So we've worked with Army. We've worked with Air Force. We've worked with the Marine Corps. So this isn't, even though the three of us are Navy, we don't want this to be a Navy club. We want this to be an armed forces across the globe club. We may eventually even open it up to Five Eyes or whatever, right? So that we get, hey, let's get the camaraderie, because we've all worked with foreign nationals that are veterans as well. Why not open it up to them?
Yep.
So we want to get to that point. I just want to make sure that even though the three of us are Navy, all three of us have actually worked with different services and that's
Tom pointed out, neither you or I have ever served membership.
That's right.
I spent most of my time with the Army, the Special Operations community, and a few other things in there. So it definitely is open to everybody else.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if we have any Space Force guys in the.
Hey, listen, I'm open to
beat me
Space
to
Force.
it.
Get 'em in here.
Beat me to it. Which whiskey would be
here.
best in space?
Space Force, Coast Guard, National Guard, all of them.
I'll let you podcast the Space Force. So what do we do with the Pentagon now? What does that happen?
That's a good question. It's a good question.
I mean, we got to build a whole new building for that thing.
We need the first whiskey in space. We need somebody to sneak it up there. Yeah. Yep.
I'll take it there. Launch me.
All right. So we're coming up on an hour here that we've been going on the show. This is usually around the time that I start thinking about, making sure we get all of our good thoughts out there. So what do you guys want people to know? What do you guys want listeners to know? Listeners of my show, people who came over here from your Facebook group. What do you want people to know about the group going forward? What's your message out there to them?
Hey, we want to grow the group as much as we can. That way we get the message out there. We also want to get the group onto the website as well, and the Facebook page, Warriors and Whiskey, and the Instagram page. And I actually just created today a Twitter account under Warriors and Whiskey.
Nice. Tweeting out there.
So the Warriors and Whiskey brand is what's going to carry on our ability to do business and actually do our giving back, right? That's where we're going to do our giving back, from the Warriors and Whiskey. So what we really want is the club to actually move over and migrate and do both into the Warriors and Whiskey portion as well. So that's our main focus at this point, trying to build the Warriors and Whiskey brand so that we can facilitate giving back to the veteran community.
Yeah, and additionally, I mean, if you love America, you love veterans, you love giving back, that's what we're about. You know, come join us, come help us do that.
If you don't join Veterans and Whiskey, you don't love America.
That's what it is.
I wouldn't go that far, Max, but I love it.
Make America drink whiskey again. Is that what we're doing?
Make America drink whiskey.
So, I mean, honestly, the only thing, this last thing is I mean, it's been 3 months, and I gotta admit, this has been the 3 most fun months that I've had in the last few years. So, I always want to say thank you for all that stuff.
Yes, thank you.
And remember, this isn't our group. This is you guys. You guys all made this your own group.
Yeah.
Max, you asked, is like, hey, do people take charge? There's bourbon barrels, there's meetups, there's groups, there's funniest videos I've ever seen. I mean, the dude that always takes his freaking shirt off and like does a bourbon tasting. It's creepy, but it's funny as shit. I'm just glad that I can be part of this. So thanks.
For sure. Like, thank you everybody for making this what it is. Like, I am enjoying the shit out of this. My Facebook feed is nothing but fun and people's families, and it's energetic and positive. Yeah, it's energetic, positive, and I love it. We just want to continue our mission of trying to move forward and help as many people as we can, while also enjoying the camaraderie that we have and entertaining all of you. So invite all your friends, send them to warriorsandwhiskey.com, over to Instagram and Facebook at Warriors and Whiskey, and check us out there. That's all I got.
You know what? Something you just said really inspired me, which is make your Facebook feed something a little bit more enjoyable. You know what I mean? Try to make that thing something that makes you, if you spend time on that, try to make that something that makes you happy, not sad. You know what I mean? Milo, you kind of said you haven't seen anything, political on there in a while. Jason, you're talking about your Facebook feed's full of fun stuff. Take some ownership of that. Like, I need to go on there and probably adjust, maybe who I'm, on my personal Facebook page, like who I'm friends with, all this stuff, and get some more, military veteran fun stuff up on there. That's awesome, dude. I'm going to probably order one of your shirts as soon as the show is over, because I was really digging some of the ones I saw out there. I want to thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of it in a little way by being your first podcast, because this is your guys' first podcast, right?
It is. Thank you.
You guys for popping our cherry.
You guys are so good. You guys did so good. I wish I could have a drink with you. I love when I get to come on and the guest is enjoying a libation. I can tell you, I will probably have some whiskey tonight, and you guys have inspired me. I'm going to try to find me a bottle of that Sinatra blend out here in Japan. And Skull, right? Skull.
Hey, find that Blanton's Green label. That's what you need to find.
I'll keep my eye out for it. There's some great liquor stores out here in Okinawa, right down the street from where I live. I had a blast. It's always nice to see you again, Jason and Milo, and very nice to meet you, Tom.
Nice to meet you, man.
I really dig in the signs you have up in the background. You guys are on brand. You guys are right, doing all the right things. You got your T-shirts. It's all good, and you're great service members. You're awesome, warriors, and you've done your service to your country. 2 of you are still doing it, and I hope you get your retirements coming up soon. And I overall had a great time. And for everybody listening, please go check out Warriors and Whiskey, linked in the description down below. Go check out the Veterans Whiskey Club Facebook group if you want a fun group to kind of go enjoy some time on Facebook with and have a little fun and talk about whiskey and share some sea stories or some war stories. You guys are super legit, as we say on this show. And Veterans Whiskey Club is also, hashtag super legit. So you guys are awesome for being here. It's always my pleasure. Do you guys have any final words you want to say before we wrap up?
Thanks, Max.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Max. And everybody in the group, thank you for making this group an amazing, positive group. And continue to do what you're doing. and push forward and educating us. We completely appreciate it.
That's awesome. You guys rock. All right, with that, I'm going to wrap up the show. I appreciate you guys being here today. You're awesome for coming and sharing some time with me. I want to thank everybody who listened today as well, everyone who came over here from the Veterans of Whiskey Facebook page, and all of our normal listeners and patrons. Thank you for being here today. As a reminder, check out links in the description down below of the best ways to support the channel, including Patreon, where you get a free t-shirt on your second month of being an elite patron, and you can check out the Veterans and Whiskey Facebook page and group and website and all that stuff in the links. So thank you for being here. I look forward to talking to you guys very soon. It's Friday out here in Okinawa, so I'll be back on Monday, Sunday, Pacific time, 1800. Until then, I'll see you next time. We are out for now.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.